Welcome back to 4 for 4 Fantasy Football, where today we are going to talk league winners. We're going to talk those players who can get you that fantasy title. Get you to the end of the season and deliver you the chip. I'm Mike Randle. You can follow me on Twitter at RandleRant. Make sure you follow the 4 for 4 Fantasy Football channel for the fantastic content and hit that like button so we can continue to provide you championship tips. Now listen, there are amazing fantasy analysts here at 4 for 4 Football. What you're going to hear is a group of players today that if you look at 4 for 4 Fantasy Football, we have talked about and have recommended throughout the channel. These are players who can win you that title. It is a very fragile thing to win a fantasy title. You need a solid regular season, and you need players who can perform late, and that's what we're going to give you today. 5 players, folks. 5 players that you're going to get that can help you win your league. Here we go. We're looking at redraft leagues, traditional format, not tight end premium, not super flex, and we're looking at PPR formats. Here we go. I have done a myriad of underdog fantasy drafts, and the one thing that I've found in each and every one is I feel better about my teams when I have Buffalo Bills representation. The Buffalo Bills have finished third in points per game each of the last 2 seasons. They are a superb offense with an MVP candidate in Josh Allen there at quarterback. So the first person that I will say that you have to have is one of 2. You need Buffalo Bills representation, and that is either going to be Stephon Diggs or it is going to be Gabe Davis. And my reason for that is you certainly want to have a part of the Bills. But the question is, who do you draft for the Bills? Who are you going to draft from this offense that can help you win the title? And if you look at the players across the board, you have Stephon Diggs, wide receiver 5, ADP 8. You have Josh Allen, who's your QB1, 31.9. Now, I don't like drafting quarterbacks early. I went through that in the players that we talked about with Bus. So I'm avoiding Allen. You have Gabe Davis, who's wide receiver 22, and already looked fantastic catching a touchdown pass against the Broncos yesterday in the preseason. Outside of that, James Cook, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss is getting carries at the goal line, and you have Dawson Knox at tight end. People like Isaiah McKenzie late. Some people still hang on to Jamison Crowder. The point is, if you're going to take a Buffalo Bill and you want Buffalo Bill representation on your redraft leagues, I think you're either taking Diggs or you're taking Gabe Davis. So I try to not leave any draft that I go with my redraft leagues. I want either Diggs or Gabe Davis. I'm going to prioritize it because I certainly want to have a player on a team that is a Super Bowl caliber team that's going to be playing late in the year, tethered to Josh Allen, a big arm quarterback on an offense that scores points. And the 2 players you can get are either Stephon Diggs, wide receiver 5, or Gabe Davis, wide receiver 22. I am not leaving drafts without one of those 2 players. I'll take Diggs over early running backs, people like Najee Harris. No way. Even Dalvin Cook, I'm taking Diggs because I've locked myself in to Buffalo Bills. So the first player that is a league winner is either Diggs or Davis. Make sure you get yourself Buffalo Bills representation. Second, Jakobi Meyers. Jakobi Meyers of the Patriots has one of the mystifying ADPs that I've seen in Underdog. Right now, Jakobi Meyers is going in round 12 of Underdog fantasy drafts, wide receiver 68, and his ADP is actually plummeting and going down, making him a bigger buy. Look at what Jakobi Meyers did last year, the first year of having Mac Jones as quarterback. He ended up ranking top 20 in targets, 126. He ended up ranking top 16 in receptions, 83. All of that with tremendous negative production in the touchdown department, only 2 touchdowns. He reminds me a lot, not to the same level, but a lot as Cooper Kupp. Last year, Cooper Kupp came into the season with Matthew Stafford, 94 receptions, 92 receptions. He ended up having a good amount of targets with Jared Goff, and they had a huge upgrade in Matthew Stafford, and he ended up being the offensive player of the year. Jakobi Meyers is not going to do that, but if you're looking for similar value, last year Kupp was being drafted in rounds 4 or 5. Some people like Robert Woods ahead of Cooper Kupp last year. Jakobi Meyers is being drafted as wide receiver 68. He is going to finish in PPR leagues as a wide receiver 2 or better. He's going to. And there's going to be positive touchdown regression, which is what we saw with Kupp. He was getting all these receptions and not getting touchdowns. Had 3 touchdowns the year prior before last year. You get some positive regression with Jakobi Meyers. He's definitely the favorite target there of Mac Jones. Mac Jones is now a second-year quarterback. You're going to see improvement. And they have Devontae Parker on the outside. Devontae Parker, similar to Mike Williams, is a go-up-and-get-it receiver. He's not a guy who operates in the short to intermediate route. Mac Jones is not going to take big shots. I don't leave my drafts without Jakobi Meyers. And your investment is round 12, wide receiver 68. No investment, no draft capital that's risky, and gives you a high reward. That's Jakobi Meyers. 3, Tony Pollard. If I'm going to wait and do a 0 RB construct, and I'm going to wait, I have 2 running backs now back-to-back that I want you to get. The first is Tony Pollard. The Dallas Cowboy offense, with Dak Prescott as quarterback and Kellen Moore as offensive coordinator, 3 years ago, ranked 5th. When Dak Prescott got hurt 2 years ago, they were 1st through 5 games before he broke his foot against the Giants. And last year, the Cowboys were number 1 ranked offense. They lost Amari Cooper. And now you're looking at an offense that has a declining Zeke Elliott in the backfield, has Dalton Schultz, a solid tight end, and CeeDee Lamb, who has not ever proven himself yet as a dominant wide receiver 1. I think Tony Pollard is Alvin Kamara light. I believe that Tony Pollard is going to be on the field with Ezekiel Elliott. And I don't think any defense is scheming to stop Tony Pollard. Look at Tony Pollard's production. He's been one of the most efficient players in fantasy football the last 3 years. Rushing yards in his first 3 years, 455, 435, 719. Huge improvement last year. Rushing attempts, 86, 101, 130. Huge improvement last year. Receptions, 15, 28, 39. Receiving yards, 107, 193, 337. He is ready for a breakout season. He is ready for a 60 to 70 reception season. And the great part about Tony Pollard is if you take him and Ezekiel Elliott goes down, you have found yourself a league winner. He is going as RB25 on Underdog. He is outside the top 24 running backs, and he is going in the 7th round. There's a 7th round pick who's absolutely going to return value, who has league winning upside. In the one game he played without Ezekiel Elliott, he finished as the RB1 that week, the overall RB1. Pass catching running back, versatile, big offense, limited challenges with the receivers. James Washington's out. You have Jalen Tolbert, who's a rookie. I think Pollard's on the field all the time. He is a guy who the last couple years has ended up producing RB30, RB25 averages the last year, 130 rushing attempts, over 1,000 total yards, 39 receptions. Big year for Tony Pollard. He's a league winner. The other running back that I'm going with as well is A.J. Dillon of the Green Bay Packers. This Green Bay offense, if you think about it, sure, you have Aaron Rodgers back. And yes, he's getting older. They just took away the key receiver in the passing game in Davante Adams. And who they replace him with? Romeo Doubs, we've heard good things about. Alan Lazard, we're still talking about. Can Robert Tonyan come back? There's no one in the passing game. Yes, Aaron Jones is going to be featured 100%, but this team wants to run. They've wanted to run. That is why they have drafted accordingly and avoided drafting wide receivers with high draft capital. Christian Watson is there. Haven't heard a lot about him in the preseason. I think this is going to be a run-centered offense. I think Matt LaFleur is going to run with A.J. Dillon. They drafted A.J. Dillon, 2nd round pick back in 2020, 24 years old, 6 feet, 247, massive speed, massive burst. And he was a good receiver at Boston College, better than people give him credit for. A.J. Dillon is a league winner. A.J. Dillon is a player I have the most exposure of any player to A.J. Dillon. Why? For most of the offseason, he was going as RB25, RB26. He's still available in round 6. If Aaron Jones gets injured, he is absolutely an RB1 and a league winner. And this is a player who should get the ball at the goal line. This is an offense that, yes, still has a future Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers, but they have limited receiving weapons. Don't you want a big pass-catching back on an offense that has limited receiving weapons that is built for the cold, which means they have to give the ball to the big bruising back in the winter. A.J. Dillon, late in the season, winning time. Both he and Tony Pollard are two players that I think are huge league winners this year. And the last one for me is Michael Pittman. I do not leave drafts without Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman's ADP has now climbed. It's climbed steadily throughout the summer. He is still available, however, outside of wide receiver ones around round 3, early round 3 to mid round 3. Michael Pittman operated with Carson Wentz as his quarterback, drew 129 targets, 88 receptions, 1,000 receiving yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns, RB22 in only his second year. This is your third-year breakout. This is a receiver that is the focal point of the offense. Yes, Alec Pierce has done some nice things. Yes, Ashton Dillon is there. Yes, we like Mo Alley Cox. This offense is running through Michael Pittman. His target share on this team is going to be dominant. He ranked 14th in targets last year, 14th in target share, and he ended up scoring 6 touchdowns, which was top 20 with 88 receptions. Michael Pittman is going to get 100 receptions in this offense with Matt Ryan, a superior accurate quarterback, a former league MVP, and a much better overall efficient quarterback than Carson Wentz. This is Jonathan Taylor's team. I understand that. But I like Michael Pittman over Mike Evans of Tampa Bay. I think he is much safer. Tom Brady right now, no one knows where he is. If Tom Brady doesn't play or something happens with this offense, Mike Evans is in trouble. Chris Godwin is back. They lost their starting center. Here is a Colts team that is on the rise, a Colts team that should win this division. It is a division that is not difficult in terms of passing defenses. Jacksonville, Houston, these are not teams that are going to be difficult to pass on. I love the Colts, and I love Michael Pittman. I think he is one of the safest picks, and he absolutely has top 5 receiving upside in his range of outcomes. So, folks, 5 league winners that I want you to focus on here. You must get Bills representation. My choice, Diggs or Gabe Davis. Take your pick. You must get Jakobi Meyers, a player that's getting 100 receptions, a player that's going to have positive regression, and a player that's available well outside of the top 36 wide receivers. Tony Pollard, pass-catching extraordinaire. Alvin Kamara-like person in an explosive offense that has limited receiving options. A.J. Dillon, big bruising back, whose pass-catching ability is underrated, that is going to be the focus with an older quarterback and limited receiving weapons as a run-heavy attack that has already been run-heavy even in the last couple years. And Michael Pittman, a player that is a top 5, a lock to me with a floor of low-end wide receiver 1 that I think can be a top 5 wide receiver with touchdowns, with receptions, and in target share. Don't leave without those 5 guys and those 5 players here. 4 for 4 fantasy football, redraft league winners. I'm Mike Randle. We'll see you again soon.